Hi guys! What I just dumped out onto my desk was my collection of trash. Now, if you're watching this video, you can probably relate to having a huge bag or box or cabinet even full of just garbage that you've collected for craft project purposes. And I don't think anyone else would really understand it, but these pieces of trash are going to come in handy one day. I just know they are. So I gotta hold on to them. And so today I pulled out 5 pieces of trash and I'm going to make something out of each one of these. So we have this like Amazon pouch, silver pouch. What I just showed you before that was a tab from a box. This is a clothing tag and it had a little pin already attached to it, which is great. This is the backing from a sticker sheet, and I liked how it folded, thought it was interesting. And then this last one came from a pack of beer. It was like a little hanger on the beer when we bought it. So starting off with this silver little pocket, I think this came from like ordering something on Amazon, and I was like, ooh, yeah, I'm keeping that. So I decided because it's silver and shiny, I'm going to go with sort of a space theme. So I've got this like space planet washi tape here that I'm adding to the top. And I think I didn't like the placement of the tape, so I just go ahead and redo it. There we go. Now that's done, I think. Just trimming the end of it. And from here, I decided I wanted to add some star sequins, just to, continue with kind of the shiny theme that we have going on. So I pulled out a couple of stars and then also some little circles to go on top. And honestly, I start getting really annoyed with these sequins because they're so fiddly and like hard to use, hard to pick up with my hands. So you'll see me get increasingly more frustrated with these. See, it's almost impossible to like pick them up and actually move them around with your fingers. They're just so tiny. But I end up just going with silver stars. Wait, no, I don't. I end up just going with gold stars and then having little silver dots on top. And I'm also grabbing this holographic mirror paper I have, and I'm going to tear out the silver and gold piece of that. And then I'm going to draw just freehand some stars and cut those out as well. As you can see, I don't actually know how to draw a star. I think I need to go back to elementary school because these are super wonky. I don't know what the problem is here, but I can't draw to save my life, and clearly I can't even do stars. So at some point I need to do some sort of like drawing lesson because it's just, it's pitiful. But this is what we're working with, so I just keep going, and this is what we're gonna do. So I cut out all the stars that I drew. And they're very hard to cut because of how wonky they were drawn. And then I'm also looking for some sort of space image in this collage book. This is one of those books where you just like cut out images and use them, in a collage or on an embellishment or something. So I go with this kind of like retro space lady, alien type lady, whatever she is, and I start cutting her out. And so here she is, just trimming her down a little bit. I always edit the cutting so you don't have to watch me struggle. And I just kind of mess with the placement of her. There is like some stickiness on the front of that envelope, so I kind of use that to my advantage and use it to stick things down without glue. I was too lazy to wash the stickiness off. Well, I did try, but it wasn't coming off, so that was the best I could do. And so now that I've got my lady where I want her to go, I just start kind of placing the stars around and playing with the placement of those. And this is really when I start to get frustrated with the sequins because, well, and the glue. I hate Elmer's glue. Honestly, I only used it because I didn't really know what to use to glue onto plastic because this sleeve is plastic. So I pulled out Elmer's. It got everywhere, and as you can see, here's where I pull out the tweezers because I just can't deal with these stars anymore. And the tweezers honestly did help a lot. I always forget to use those and just always try to struggle picking things up with my hands, but we have tools for a reason. But yeah, the glue just kept seeping through and making a huge mess. And I just am not a big fan of Elmer's. I think I complained about glue in my previous video too. I just really don't know what the correct glues are that I should be using. So I think I need to go on that journey and figure that out. But I do like how these stars look. I think it just gives it a really cool, pizzazz. It's very shiny and spacey, and I just really like the vibe of this. I never really do things like this that are completely different, like space. That's not really a theme or vibe that I would normally reach for, but I love this, and it makes me want to do like more creative themes that I haven't tried before. Because I feel like I just get stuck in a pattern of just doing the same kind of vibe, florals and nature and all of that, which, not gonna lie, that's kind of what you're gonna see with these other embellishments. But I enjoyed doing something different here. And so I start to try to make a little card for this pocket, but then as I'm messing with the paper, it starts popping off some of those sequins, and I just get even more and more frustrated with the whole thing, to be honest. So I put the pocket aside to dry and don't end up making the card. I just move on to the next thing. That's where the sequins started popping off, and I was like, I'm so done. I don't want to do this anymore. I had to take everything off and start over. Not everything, but, it all just started moving around and sliding. That's my problem. I can't wait for glue to dry. I have to just start working on the next thing when it's still wet. I need to learn patience. So now I've finally given up, and I put that aside to dry, and I'm going to move on to this clothing tag now. And clothing tags like this are really thick, so I don't usually like to cover the whole thing in paper. Instead, I pull out all those little paper scraps and also these sticker books for embellishments. And I'm just going to kind of play with the scraps and see how I want to layer them on the card. Really, I just want to cover up the writing because I like the gray color in the background. That's fine. I don't need to cover up the entire tag. I definitely could, but to be honest, these tags are always super thick, or at least the ones that I save are always really thick. And if you just add more paper layers on top, it becomes almost too thick to use in a journal. So that's why I'm just layering very thin scraps only on the middle section here. And I try not to overthink kind of the colors and the placement of these. I'm really trying not to worry about each little thing because 3 years from now, 5 years from now, if this is in a journal and I'm flipping through, I'm not going to think about which scrap went where and, should I have done a different color here? I'm just not. So I'm really trying not to overthink these little things. It's hard, but I'm trying to work more quickly and just go, and don't, sit there messing with scraps and pondering for hours. So I move on to the back and do kind of the same thing there. I think there's like a website at the bottom or something, and I cover that up. And these are all like cut-offs from other projects, and I just keep them in a little cup on my desk. I have a pegboard that's supposed to be hung up, and the cup came with that, but it fell off the wall, so I'm waiting on my husband to hang that up for me properly with like hooks and nails and screws. So for now, the cup's just going to sit on my desk. And so I'm just gluing on these scraps. And there we go. That was super simple. And so now I'm just going to go through this little sticker book and choose some stickers to use as embellishments for this tag. And I love these sticker books. They're so modern and cute. I used these in one of my previous videos, my first video actually, where I'm using up stickers. And all the stickers are so adorable. But I end up going with that flower, and I think you're going to start to notice throughout the video that I have flowers on the brain because I kind of get into a pattern, as you're going to see. But now I'm grabbing a sentiment to add here. I think it said, do all things with love, but I'm just cutting it into little pieces because it'll just look better, if it's kind of cut up and arranged rather than like sticking the whole sentiment on there as is. So I'm just chopping it up and keeping them on my fingers while I work. So you can't really see the words because they're white, so it's very hard to see, but I just kind of arranged them, around the tag. Okay, so it says, what does that even say? I cannot read it. I think it said, do all things with love. I should have held that up closer. I could not read that while I'm doing the voiceover. But now I'm going to work on the back. I'm just going to add a little something to decorate it. So I grabbed this kind of like frame sticker that was also in the sentiment book. And then I go back to my cute, this brand is called Bando. That's these cute stickers. You can get them on Amazon, but they have like their own website. That's where I got them from. They have like 7 or 8 different versions of these books. I have 2 of them. And honestly, I don't need to buy new ones for a while because like there's so much good variety. But I will definitely like buy the rest over time. I end up going with this little mushroom to kind of, it's a little nature-y, kind of continue the nature theme. But I love this tag. I think it's super cute. And it was so easy. This honestly took like 5 or 6 minutes to make. But we're not done yet. The tag came with that little bulb pin already attached, which is amazing. I love when clothing brands do that. So I just pulled out this bag of random beads, and I'm finding the teeny tiny ones so that I can put them on the bulb pin. And this bag of beads I got from my local craft thrift store they just have like a bead section where you can use a scoop and just like get a whole bag of random beads. And I have to get a bag every time I go in. But now I have like 4 bags and I hardly use them. So I think I'm going to make like a book jewelry video or like charm video, whatever, so that I can use up some of these beads because I've just got way too many now. And so I just kind of attach the pin back on to the tag and mess around with it for a while. But I think it's so cute. I love having just that little extra thing on there. And then I do also go ahead and add this little scrap piece of string. I just tie it in a bow on there as well, just to, just to add a little more flair. And I'm also pretty bad at tying bows, just as bad as I am at drawing. So that's why it's taking me so long. But it's almost done, I think. Yep, there we go. There's the bow. And there we go. So here's my tag. I love it. It's super cute. And this honestly was so quick, like I said. And I didn't really have to do much because I already had the clothing tag ready to go. And so here's that beer label. And my thought with this was that I really wanted to use the like little circle that's already cut out on there. So I'm trying to figure out how to make this into a pocket. And have that circle kind of be the front of the pocket so that I can put something behind it. So I add some tape to the sides to seal them up to create that pocket, which you'll see what I mean once I finish messing around with this tape. I feel like I've used more washi tape in this video than I ever have in my life. Like, I'm not a huge washi person. I think it's necessary and like everyone needs some washi tape. But it's not like my go-to favorite thing in the world. But I feel like for some reason with these projects, I really, really reached for the washi tape. I don't know. But I do get frustrated with it. And you can see I messed it up like 3 times. I'm just very bad at placing it correctly. Okay, I think I finally got it. Yep. So just trimming off the end. And there we go. Finally got it on there, and now we have a little pocket, which I'm trying to demonstrate, but my finger was not going in there. So my next thought is that I want to stamp something in the middle of that circle, just so that, it's not just blank in there. So I add this cute little flower stamp in the middle, and then I play around to see if I want more stamps, but I end up just leaving it I don't leave it white, but I end up not wanting more stamps. So I go back to my handy dandy scrap box and I just glue on these scraps to add a little color. And all this brown paper you're seeing, these are like brown paper grocery bags or like bags from buying clothes. It's all garbage, Gotta reuse what we have. And then now what I'm trying to do is find some sort of scrap paper to use as like a card to go in the pocket. So I think I settle on this green color. This project's very, very green. I go for every single shade of green. Oh no, I didn't use that green color. I ended up with the green plaid instead. Still green though. But yeah, now I'm just kind of eyeball measuring, and then I always use pen to mark where I want to crop something. but I always just eyeball measure and then make a mark. I don't really actually measure. Who does, honestly? I feel like every video I watch, they're like, I don't measure anything. Okay, so here's my card that's going in the pocket, and I'm kind of just playing around just to make sure it all looks good. And then I go ahead and round the corners on it as well. Always got to round the corners. And it fits perfectly in my little pocket, so I'm happy with it. The next step now is just to add a little something to that card so that it's not just, a piece of scrapbook paper. So again, I pull out my paper bag and glue a piece of that on there. Now, because I use these bags so much in projects, I just have all these little scraps of them hanging around. So then I create even more paper bag scraps. Adding some more scrap paper here. Oh, I was like, I don't even remember what I did here. I'm tracing that circle in the middle because what I want to do is add a circle to my card so that when you put the card in the pocket, you just see the circle through the hole, if that makes sense. So I just kind of roughly trace the circle and cut it out. And then I'm going to glue it onto my card. Like so. And so as you can see, when you put the card in the pocket, it's just that circle peeking through. And I'm going to add a sticker in the middle of it so that it's not just, a plain circle, of course. So just choosing another cute sticker from this book. And I love it. It says, have fun. Very adorable. But I think I also want to add another sticker, just to jazz it up a little more. So I go with this, again, flower, because I got flowers on the brain. I kind of play with the arrangement, but then I decide to back it onto that gold scrap of paper, which was from earlier when we were cutting out the stars. Just use the leftover from that to back this. And I think that really made it pop and just added, some interest to this. Broke up the green a little bit. So I glued that on. And it's looking very cute. I like it. It's my little card. And on the back, I want to add some writing space. So I just go in, I have my scraps sorted by color, which might be kind of insane, but I go in my white scrap bag and grab some index card scraps because I want the lines on the back. And then I do my little measuring technique again and crop it down. But yes, I sort my larger scraps by color because if I don't, I might go crazy. I don't do well when things are not organized. I'm a very organized crafter. I have to have everything just, in its place, the correct place. So yeah, I have my scraps sorted by color. That's where this all started. So I'm gluing that on, and this is just about done. It's my little cute pocket made out of a beer. What am I doing? Oh, there's more. I'm not done. There's more. Now I'm just going to add a little tab to the top. So I just grab another piece of that green paper, and I'm just going to go ahead I'm just gonna go ahead and staple that on there. And there we go. There's my little pocket. I really like that. It's kind of funny that that was just from, you know, a little tag from the grocery store. And so here, this is a tab that came off some sort of box. And I mean, honestly, you could find those all day. Like whenever you buy something like a box of snacks, these kinds of tabs are going to be on there. So they're super useful because they're already in the shape of a tab. So perfect. I pull out all my little tiny scraps again, and I'm just kind of playing with them to see what I want to do. I could spend all day just layering scraps and messing with the arrangement of them. And I think I don't go with those colors that I had originally, and I kind of change up the vibe a little bit and go with the black chevron here. So once I've got everything figured out, I just add some glue, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start layering all my papers on. Again, this doesn't have to be a huge deal. I did take a little too long doing this. I should have just started gluing things down. But honestly, like, we're gluing trash onto trash. We don't need to worry about what we're doing. Like, that's literally what this is. So we're gluing trash onto other trash. And, you know, if I don't end up liking it, I can throw it in the trash. It's really not a big deal. So that's what I'm trying to remember. Just not to overthink things like that where it really doesn't matter. This is not serious. And here, these are all pre-punched out flowers that I have, or they're flowers that I've stamped onto paper and then cut out. So I have flowers stamped onto vellum, notebook paper, book pages, and then I also have just flowers that have been punched with a paper punch. So I just keep all of those together, and they're really handy to have for something like this where I need something that's like pre-made and I don't want to like get out the punch and start punching the flowers myself. Well, you know what I mean. It's ready to go. I don't have to think about it in the moment. So I like having some pre-made sort of embellishments like that. So I just kind of quickly arranged the flowers how I wanted them, and now I'm gluing them all down. And I staple that vellum flower because vellum does not really react well to glue, I've found. So I just always staple it or tape it with washi tape. And I have to pull out the stupid Elmers again for this button. And it makes me mad because I just hate Elmers. But honestly, it kept the button on, so it worked in this case. And now we're moving right along to our little flippy sticker packaging, whatever you want to call it. Now with this, it's already basically like a flip page thing. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's already in the shape of like a flip out. So I decide that I'm just going to decorate it and make it into sort of like a flip out embellishment that I could glue into a journal. So I just pull out some paper. This first side I go with a black piece of paper. And I'm going to be honest, guys, I don't like this thing that I made here. So I don't even want to like talk about it because I don't like it. But sometimes that happens, you know, like you're not going to love everything you make. And that's fine. Again, I'm gluing trash onto trash. That's a magazine cutout right there. The Craft Your Own Path. That's from a magazine. The other pieces of paper are ripped up paper from another project. Right here we've got, I mean, this isn't really trash. This is paper that I painted on. But still, I mean, really it is just all garbage glued on top of garbage. So I'm trying to remember that. It's not that serious. But watching this back, I'm like, I should have gone with that other color. Like, I love that blue sparkly strip. I should have used that. The colors just go so much better together, like with that green background. But instead, I want to be different and unique and cool, and I go with the yellow painted strip, and it's just not, it's not good, guys. It's not my favorite. I don't know what I'm going to end up doing with this, but whatever. You can't love everything you make, right? So I'm just gluing these on. I decide that I want to make this yellow piece sort of like a belly band. I hate that word. I hate the word belly. But anyway, I only glue the like very edges of it so that you can fit things under it. I'm not making any sense. Anyway, then I glue this magazine text on top. And this is like the front page, technically, of the flip out. And now I'm doing, and it's going to flip out to the side. I don't think I mentioned that, but I'm making it so that you kind of glue in that like pink strip edge of it, and then it will flip all the way out, which I'll show you at the end. But now I'm just adding this sort of like cut apart card on there. And of course, I add some more tape just to cover up the background that was already on there. Like I said, there's a lot of tape in this video. I was on a floral and plant kick, and I was also on a tape kick. So I add that little cut apart journal card. And then, actually, take that back. I do not add the journal card. I ink the edges because I didn't love how white that was looking. So I just ink all the way around with the blue, I think it's speckled egg color. Then I glue that journal card down. So now it's time to work on the back. And for this, I kind of wanted to have like a focal image. I didn't really know what I wanted that to be, but I have a lot of good images in my magazine stash, so I just pulled out one of those. So I'm just marking the size of what I need to crop. And just cropping that down. And there's our image. So now I'm just trying to see what I want to do on that other side. So again, I just pull out all my scraps and just start tearing and playing around with them. That's that paper bag again. Comes in very handy, I'm telling you. And I'm just kind of arranging that, figuring out what I want to do. Again, I pull out that blue painted strip, and I should have just used it because I actually like that color. But for some reason, I'm just obsessed with washi tape today. And so I tape it again. I don't know what I was on with that one. And I think I don't like the placement of the tape because it's like barely visible when you add the brown bag on top. So yeah, so I end up peeling off the tape and repositioning it. That's a good thing about washi tape. You can always do that. And now I'm just gluing down that paper bag. And I'm also gluing down my magazine image. And I just smoothed it a little bit with the bone folder because it was a little ripply. But there we have it. I think I'm done now with this. It's a little flippy thing, so you can see how it just flips out. And, oh, actually, I think I have one more step. But it's basically done. My last step is just to add a little tab, again with that brown bag. Just to, you know, show that it folds out. And I staple that on there. So I don't hate this thing, but it's not super cohesive. Like, I don't like how none of it really matches or goes together. So if I could do this over, I would, honestly. But I actually do have a few more of these little sticker backing things, so I can give it another go. It's not the end of the world. I can do a different theme next time. But that's it, I think. Actually, no. I know what happens now. I had to add even more glue because these dang sequins are just falling off. Honestly, I love this little space pouch, but it's also the bane of my existence, and I feel like it's gonna fall apart when I put it in a journal, so we'll see. But yeah, I had to keep messing with it. I might have to find better glue to stick on plastic because this is not working. And then again, I try to find some paper to use for a little like journal card to go inside the pouch. So I'm playing around with like different shades of blue paper and trying to see if any of those would work. But at this point, I'm also kind of done with this whole thing and kind of tired of crafting in general. So I'm just not enthusiastic about making the journal card. And I'm not liking any of these blue pieces that I have. I pull out that stupid painted strip again because I just feel like I need to use it. And I'm trying to see, like, can I put a tab on the top? Like, does that look good? What can I do? Is it saying space? Like, it needs to look spacey still. I just really want it to work, and nothing's working in my mind. So I'm just playing with, everything I have. That just looks way too plain and boring, so I give up. And here are all the completed projects from this video. I really hope you enjoyed this, and I would love to hear how you use pieces of trash in your journal, how you like to transform things, and like any tips you might have. I always love seeing the creative things people do on here. But yeah, I'm happy with most of these. I love that little tag, and I do love my space pocket. I just need to make a journal card for it eventually. But this was a fun little session, and I think these things are really cute. So thank you for watching.